Welcome back to BadgerBlitz TV, your Rivals.com destination for all things Wisconsin athletics. From on the field at Camp Randall Stadium to on the court at the Kohl Center, I'm Matt Perkins, joined every week by Rivals.com national recruiting analyst and my good friend, Clint Cosgrove. Clint, as we always say, it's the best time of the week.
It's the best time of any week, always week.
Every
I just
week.
want to be awesome today.
I mean, I'm doing my best to be. I'm doing my best to being awesome today. So
I wonder if people wonder why I say that all the time, because that just inspires me to continue. Well, to continue for the first time of the day to be awesome. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're always awesome with this. So today, Clint's got me itching to go down and start looking way down into the future. So we're going to get to, I can't believe I'm saying this, we're getting to 2026 prospects on today's show. I don't even know what's happening right now. Let's start a little bit closer to the present. 2024 offensive tackle Ben Roebuck out of Ohio, 6'7", 320, Wisconsin offer, and he just looks like a classic road grader. And one of the things that actually really impressed me about him, watching his feet, he plays right tackle. He's a big kid. He's super light on his feet, and he's always moving his feet. He is whatever the opposite of lead-footed is, he's it.
Yeah, no. So the first time I saw him I was new to Rivals. I was out at the Ohio State Championship games. It might have been the last game out of like 6 or 7 I had been to, filming and cutting up and evaluating and writing. But he walks on the field and, I don't know if anybody's seen their uniforms. They were wearing all like green and yellow that night, but he looked like he could play for the Green Bay Packers right away. So I think he's slightly under 6'7", but he is every bit of 320. He's a road grader. Now, I think his highest upside, surprisingly, I mean, you see him, flip his hips and everything like there. I think he can be lethal as an interior guy. Ability to play outside.
So, Clint, that was going to be one of my first questions for you was, do you think he can stay at tackle, especially on the right side? I don't think he's still going to be a left tackle, or do you think he kicks down on the inside? And you seem to think he's going to kick down to the inside.
Yeah, because you know what? A lot of these guys who are built like him, I mean, look how massive he is. And keep in mind, they're playing against some big, talented kids in Ohio.
I mean, I saw their schedule. They were playing Archbishop Hoban. They're playing Massillon. Like they're playing some schools.
Yeah. And so the first thing I want to say is this program's got dudes everywhere. And when you stick out in a program like that, especially like he did the first time I saw him as a sophomore, you're a special player. He was a road grader. We were the first place to make him a 4-star. Saw him in person at the Under Armour camp. It's crazy. He looks like, when you go to camps like that, there's a lot of kids who are very impressive looking. So like, I was like, oh, did I think that he was like more freaky size than he was? And then you just look around, it's a bunch of other freaks. So I go and see him on the football field again this season. And yes, he still looks freaky in pads. And, he's a physical kid. He's a technician. But like you said, he looks really long right there. And I'm not saying that he's not, but I do think his highest upside comes on the interior. I can't think of the Iowa kid's name, who was a first-round draft pick interior lineman. Somewhat recently, kind of reminds me of him. He's
are you talking about Tristan Wirfs?
The kid before that. Maybe went to the Colts.
Kid before that who went to the Colts, coming from Iowa. My best friend is an Iowa fan. I should know this, but I'm blanking off the top of my head. So I will apologize.
How many years did Tristan go? How many years ago did Tristan go to the
Wirfs
NFL?
is entering his 3rd year with the Bucs right now.
Okay, maybe it was Tristan. Yeah. And so he kind of reminds me of whoever I'm talking about. But
I think Tristan Wirfs is actually a great comp. I actually think Tristan Wirfs
and that's probably
actually a really nice comp for him. Now, Wirfs ended up at right tackle. He was able to stay out at right tackle, but you can definitely see the size and just like the thickness, like how broad his shoulders are. Like that frame is gonna, like, I could see him taking up to like 335, like pretty comfortably.
Oh yeah, he's going to have no problem, holding that weight. And what you see on the film is he can bend, and his first step, his explosion off the ball is very impressive. you'll watch him wash out an entire side. If he can ear hole an end, I was at that game. If he can ear a hole an end and just get down on him, especially if it's a big guy. I mean, you see it every time. And they do, like, they're such a well-coached team, and they do a lot of things schematically, but working up to the second level like that, and that's why I really like him as an interior guy. He blocks well in space. He's a smart kid. He's a tough kid. He's dependable. He's everything that you look for in an offensive lineman. There's a reason we made him a 4-star. I think we have him rated higher than everybody else. You know, when you get rated that high early, you usually drop, you know, eventually, because there's a lot of guys who, you know, haven't been identified or haven't developed. He's one of those guys that was identified early, developed early, was ranked high early, but a heck of a player. And, you know, he's a Wisconsin-style offensive lineman. And anytime you can find a guy like that, that's got that toughness, that's got that nasty, that has that mentality, you know, I don't know him very, very well, but I know him well enough that I think he'd be a good fit. And this is a kid that is Wisconsin all day. He reminds me of your Wisconsin, your Iowa. You know, his recruitment will be interesting, I think, because the longer it goes and as it gets closer to signing day, yes, he still has plenty of time. But offensive line becomes, you know, quite the position of need, and people are jockeying. And, you know, his list is already very important, or very impressive, but he's going to continue to pick up offers. You don't find a lot of kids with his size, his bend, his explosiveness, and his willing to get after your butt.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely, and that willing to get after it is so important, especially for offensive linemen. So let's flip to the other side of the ball. Talk about a defensive lineman that you turned me on to recently, Jalen Williams, a 2025 kid who's got some serious athleticism at defensive end. Listed 6'6", 280, and looks pretty much all of it already as a babyface sophomore. I mean, this kid's already tearing stuff up. He looks like he's going to be a national recruit.
Yeah, and you look at his offer list right now, and that's why I wanted to talk about him, because this is a kid Wisconsin can get in on right now and have a chance at. Not far from home, and just his development over the past. Well, it's funny because I've been watching him since before in these camps, before he played maybe his freshman year. So he was always physically gifted. He was always the best looking kid at the camp, you know, but when he was younger, he'd kind of stand in the back. And then, you know, a year later, all of a sudden, you know, he's getting more aggressive. He's grown. He's gotten a little more athletic. He's growing into his frame. You see the body control. You see the length. You see his ability to fight and get after it. He's playing, I think, two ways right now, because he's got some impressive plays on O-line, if I recall.
Yeah, he's basically being used as like a blocking tight end from the stuff that I watched.
Look at him shed. Look at him, you know, they purposely didn't block him there, got him in space, and he was able to come to balance. And then the way he pursues there is just so impressive. So in the past year, so the last two times that I saw him, one was at a camp in winter, and then one was at a camp in late spring, right before football season. And the difference between that camp and the next camp was night and day. He had gotten with a defensive line trainer. He was working with some good people. He was, you know, growing into his frame, you know, just maturing as a player. And, you know, we really went out on a limb here. Not any other service, as far as I know, had him in the top 100 for the top for 2025 class. And we put him up pretty high. And that is because I totally believe in what he is doing. The other guys in the national team, you know, saw the potential. I mean, he can line up anywhere on the line. You're looking at a kid who's going to be, 6'6", 6'7", 315 pounds, probably a 3 technique, but can move around, has the athleticism. If he is a 3, he's going to have an interior pass rush. He's going to be able to hold up against, you know, the blocks. Watch him here on offense, because he's going to fire off the ball and absolutely waylay somebody and just overpower him. And it's funny to think of it that, you know, we go back to these kids who are only 15, but like, this kid's only 15. I mean, how does this happen? And so I wouldn't put it past him being an offensive lineman, but do you see right there how he kind of went back, and then his short area explosiveness he didn't even have to like wind up and go. He took one step and just earholed a guy and took him through the end zone. You look at his length, you look at his bend, like, yeah, he wasn't blocked there. I'm sure they tried to block him. That wasn't a play where they were just going to let him go. As the season went on, people have run away from him. They've learned their lesson. They'll try to zone read off of him to try to get him to maybe, make a decision early, because teams really can't block him unless they go one-on-one. But to be that size, to move like this, to have the bend over the edge, to have the motor, like look at the burst as he goes in to make that tackle. And keep in mind, this isn't bad football. He's playing against some guys, and they're trying to cut him from the side. I mean, that should have been a high-low, but he's still making the play. The kid doesn't complain. Is he on kickoff right here? I don't know.
Oh yeah, he's on kickoff. Play. Watch this. This is fun. Bang! And then he just lights up the dude, and he doesn't stand a chance. Absolutely doesn't stand a chance. It's so much fun. I had a blast watching these and cutting these up myself, because I mean, I just get to see these kids a lot of times for the first time. If sometimes I don't get to watch them the first time, get to know, but like just some of those, like you'll get those random plays in there where it's like, oh, this kid like the 300-pounder lined up at Wildcat quarterback for a play, and here he is, and it's just like, okay, like this is fun, this is awesome. This is why I love football. Like I love his team because they're clearly breaking out some like Wisconsin barge formation stuff over there, like using him as an extra effectively an offensive lineman blocking tight end. I'm all about that. So let's stick now. I want to go though. We're going to 26. I can't believe we're going to 2026. But
you got to nowadays. We talk about, and are we going quarterback here, or are we going athlete?
Yeah,
here?
We're going quarterback here, because we're talking about the kid that the number one quarterback in the country for 2026 might be from Illinois.
He's definitely top two that I've seen. There's a really special kid down south as well. But yeah, let's go. I mean, the
Jonas Williams.
The Den, you guys
Williams.
Guys want yes, that's exact Juju. The Den wants quarterbacks, and the key to that is getting on them early. So let's show you a guy who got his first offer last night from Kent State, from Sean Williams, Wisconsin, former Wisconsin player. But here's the deal. I've heard about this kid for a long time, and I've known about him. I have not seen him play at the high school level yet, but the highlights speak for himself. I've had people go down there and see him. I will see him in the next couple of weeks. He's already 6'2", 6'3", cannon for an arm. How about this? And I wrote about him today. I did. I highlighted 4 2026 guys from the Midwest that you must know, and this is one of them. So they didn't know, or they didn't announce going into Bolingbrook's first game, and Bolingbrook's a big program. Isaiah Green-May came from there. Obviously, they've got Ishawn Stewart, they've got Kyan Berry. But so they throw him out there, and I'm like, okay, freshman, definitely, maybe a zone read, maybe get his chops a little wet. No, they wasted no time. He drops a 38 or 39 yard back shoulder dime
right here
to Kyan Berry. Here it is.
Yeah, this is one of the clips you
sent. First
play
of his high school career. This is a freshman. Look at this. Boom.
Unbelievable.
I mean, you just don't see that.
To a guy who needs to be a future Badger in Kyan Berry Johnson.
No question. Probably the most underrated recruiter that I've seen from recruit from the Midwest, next to a kid in Ohio as well. But this kid is a precision passer. He's got the size. He's got the arm strength. And the moxie that he has. Coach Ivlo's been around for a while, and they're not always known to pass the ball. For him to say, you know what, let's drop a dime on your very first play, it says a lot about his confidence in him, which was obviously warranted. But for the kid to go 407 yards and 7 touchdowns in his first ever game as a 14-year-old, that's insane.
Yeah.
Okay. The kid's accurate. He's got all the arm talent in the world. He's got the size already. I'm shocked that Kent State is really the first offer. I have a feeling now that one team offered, it usually goes, the rest are going to follow. If I'm Wisconsin, and I know 2026 is not a Wisconsin thing, and it's not a most teams thing. But knowing the quarterback situation and just supporting the Den out there, if we're looking for a guy who's not far from home, who's had guys from their high school go to Minnesota, or
Go to
not
Wisconsin.
Minnesota.
I'm sure there
Wisconsin.
are. I'm sure there
No,
are kids who have gone to Minnesota, but
too.
you know.
But go to Wisconsin and Isaiah Green May, who Sean's older brother played with. So there is a connection there. There is a Wisconsin connection. There's no reason in my mind to go in on them right now, because you lose nothing if you don't take them. Somebody else is going to. And let's try to get in the driver's seat early. And then the Den, you'll say, you know what? We gave it our shot. We shot our shot. Now, if you get them, you'd be like, well, maybe we should have done this a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If not, maybe it says, you know what? This is the quarterback situation at Wisconsin. We just got to identify a really good one. But I think he's important to talk about. I think he's important for the staff to evaluate. And I think he's a guy that's going to be a major, major priority for probably every team in the nation moving forward.
And at the absolute least, you go out there, you make an offer for a kid like this, and it lets everyone else know that you're serious about it. It lets everyone else know that you're serious about, identifying quarterback talent very early on in the process and making sure that you are, you're getting those kids as early as you can.
Yeah. And then he gets an offer, and then maybe Amarion's like, you know what? I would love, because you ask Amarion, he'll be like, this kid is him. Like, this is the real deal. And, man, in 4 years from now, I guess those kids are a couple years older than him. Well, no, they're 2 years older than him. If you could have the three of them playing in your offense, you're going to be in a pretty good place. Especially you got Ben Roebuck in there, and we're projecting a pretty good roster at Wisconsin.
We are projecting pretty good. I don't know. Will he have to sit behind Ryan Montgomery is the real question, though, right? Like,
you never know.
You never know.
You never know. Hey, it's a good problem to have. That's Ohio State's problem, and nobody ever
seem to be doing just
fine,
as evidenced on the field in Columbus on Saturday night. Another guy, though, that Wisconsin, will keep needing to stack weapons if they're going to keep up with Ohio State. And a 2026 weapon. I don't know where he's going to end up. Wide receiver, running back, quarterback, defensive back. It doesn't matter because Corey Sadler is he's awesome, man. Like, he's so versatile. And you get the ball in his hands, and he's already shown at Cass Tech, the power in the state of Michigan, that he's an impact player. And that's saying something at that program.
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out about him most right away is just like his aggressiveness on the field amongst some dudes. Like at Cass Tech, they're going to punk you if you're a younger kid and you can't play and you're trying to get on the field, because they've got certified dudes across the board. Now, they're great kids, but they're very competitive and they love their football team. So for him to start there right out the bat. Two, to get him the ball as much as they can. I mean, look at this kid in space. Like, I'm sure you're going to show the clip where he's in open field and he takes it across and just outruns everybody. But just the body control, the ball skills, the swagger, the ability as a return man, a receiver, his upside, and I'm defensive bias, obviously, but I mean, look at him right there. That's against one of the top receivers in Michigan. This kid can flat out play anywhere across the board. Some people thought he might play quarterback at some point. Well, there he is. But he can just play ball. He's a ball player. He's got a lot of the intangibles that Sauce Gardner had. But, he's also, a little more developed than Sauce was at the same age. But Sauce had that killer instinct, as you see from him. Now they're going against King. There's 8 D1 kids on that team, and he's backing down to nobody. He's a special teams stud as well. He's
you're
really
about to see on special teams. This is a punt return that is pretty special.
Is it possible to make 22 miss?
Yeah. And he's so calm in space. Like, it's nothing is phasing him. The speed of the game as a 14-year-old going up to high school isn't phasing him. And that's sort of like one of the big things that you often see with freshmen, right? Like, they rush. Like, they may have some physical tools that some of the older kids don't have, but they start rushing. And he doesn't do that at all. Oh, and he lowers the shot.
No.
Like, it's
and
wonderful.
he looks like he's playing at a different speed. and he's so fluid in all of his movements. He has that it factor. And so he's going to be offered by everybody. He's already got Michigan State. Does he have Ohio State too?
No, he doesn't have Ohio State yet. I know. I saw Michigan was the big one that I think he got that this week. I want to say, very very recent he got the Michigan offer, but still.
I was mixing him up with Chris Henry Jr., who's the son of the late Chris Henry, who played
for the Bengals,
at West Virginia and Cincinnati, and they were both in this article of the 2026s that you need to know from the Midwest today. Chris Henry already has the Ohio State, Penn State, and all of that, and he actually has Pac-Man Jones as his mentor. So
nice.
He's definitely getting him out there. Yeah, but Sadler's special. You're going to have to compete for that. You're going to have to get in on him early. And Wisconsin's had some success in Michigan.
Oh, they've had a lot of success recently in the state of Michigan. Obviously offensive linemen, but they've pulled guys like Jalen Franklin, Scott Nelson, who started at safety for 3 years.
Scott Nelson.
Yep. So
the one who transferred to Texas Tech.
Yep. The kid from River Rouge, whose name I'm blanking on at the moment, but
I don't know why I'm blanking on it because he played for my dad at Texas Tech too. Gosh, why? And he didn't. It was more of a medical thing.
It was 100%. The Wisconsin staff would not clear him, so he ended up transferring after starting as a freshman. So
and you know what? And I've run into Bostad up at high schools in Michigan. Yep. I think that was the last time I saw him in person. And he's well respected up there. He does a great job recruiting up there as well. I don't know if he still has that territory.
He does. He's still the Michigan guy.
Yeah. So he finds a way to connect with kids, and it's a different way than a lot of guys. He's not a used car salesman. He goes up there, tells them how it is, and we're going to coach you hard, but we're going to win some ball games. And you know what? Those kids at Cass Tech, they want to work hard, they want to play hard, and they're also very talented. So. I definitely think he's a guy that you get in on early. I mean, it does not hurt to shoot your shot.
No.
It doesn't hurt.
No.
It doesn't hurt because guess what? There's other people shooting their shot, and if you don't take them in the end, it's not going to hurt you, okay? No. There's a reason if nobody takes them in the end, and that's just not going to be the case. I mean, these Detroit football, the elite players from there go out, and they're very successful. And I really feel they do their best when they stay closest to home. And that doesn't mean Michigan or Michigan State. That could be Wisconsin. That could be Purdue. That could be Iowa. Iowa does a great job there as well. But Sadler's a special player. And like I said, they're probably not in the, trying to get in on the 2026s right now. But it doesn't hurt to, have a little bird in the ear saying, well, these are dudes who are dudes. Mm-hmm. Let's at least give them a look.
Why not? And the name you were looking for, Reggie Pearson.
Reggie Pearson, my guy. Absolutely love him. Heck of a football player. Heck of a leader.
Such a good football player. He was a great hitter, but he had speed. Like he was one of those guys who could run, but also hit hard. I really enjoyed watching him play. So that was a real shame to see, sort of what happened there with the injury situation. But he's been thriving at Texas Tech, so I'm very happy for him in that. And we are thriving here, and we're gonna wrap it up after another thriving episode here, where we did our best to be awesome today, and we will be back.
Did our best.
We will be back next week with more recruiting chatter, more banter, and you can find Clint everywhere on all of the social medias at rivals_Clint. I'm at _Perko_ on the Twitters, and you can catch me on Believe in Badger Football with Matt Bernstein. We got Tony Pascioti on the show this week. That's going to be fun.
Big Tony! I can't wait to see him flex.
I know.
He's state patrol, right? Out in Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania State Trooper now. So we're gonna, it's our second lawman on the show. We had Sheriff Calvin Barrett on a couple months ago.
Calvin Barrett. So both incredible guys who have been very successful in what they do, and have been public servants, and very, very proud that they were friends of mine at one time. We've lost touch after a while, but
and so many of these guys too are our public servants. Not just there's so many firemen. I mean, think guys like Clink and like Shabes,
Palermo.
And so I love seeing. I really enjoy one of the great things that I enjoy doing the show with Bernie was that We talk to Badger football players who aren't football players anymore a lot of times. We talk to guys who've actually gone on and done really other fascinating, interesting things that are
Jake Wood.
Yeah. Like, just absolutely great people with great stories. So I hope you guys enjoy our conversation with Tony. We got some more fun guests coming up here in the next couple of weeks as well. And of course, we got me and Clint. I mean, you don't want to be missing out on that. So
when are we going to do the old Hebrew Hammer film breakdown?
When I'm not working on one of my 4 jobs, I will have time to cut the rest of that up when I'm not cutting up the film for this show.
I spend way too. I take up way too much of your time, but I thank you. I thank you because
Clint,
this is what makes it enjoyable. You do all the work. You're the man behind the action. I just get to comment, and thank you for having me on. This is the best mood I've been in all day. Love doing the BadgerBlitz podcast. Love Perko, and I look forward to being in the den and chiming in on any questions that anybody has. So.
Feeling is mutual, buddy. And so until next time, we will see you in the den. All right. Good stuff.